Welcome to the 15th graduation of Sizer School. My name is Michelle Paronto, and I'm the new executive director of the school. This is my first time meeting all of you, and it is an honor to be here. I believe that it is really important to live in the present moment and to be grateful for what we have. In the midst of this pandemic, this is more important than ever. We are here right now together to celebrate you, the graduates of 2020. All right. This is also a time to celebrate the people in your lives who have made a difference in your journey to this day. So we can clap for them as well, because you would not be here without them. I love graduations because they mark a point of transformation. From this point forward, graduates, you decide who you will be as a high school graduate. How will you think, care, and act in a world that needs you more than ever? We all need your time, your energy, and your dedication to making the communities around you stronger and healthier. We need your compassion for others and your creative passion for change and for seeing the world with bright new eyes. So again, welcome to your graduation, class of 2020. I'm going to briefly go over our rules of engagement. This morning, we had no issues. Everybody was incredible, and I know you're going to be the same. But just as a heads up, the Department of Public Health has provided us with some very clear guidelines, and we ask that you honor these for the safety of yourself and those around you. Please wear your masks and keep a social distance of 6 feet from people who are not in your family. Please stay seated in the areas that we've given you for your families, and if you need to leave them for any reason, go ahead and just make sure you have your mask on. We have 2 photographers that are here today taking pictures of the graduates. They'll be taking pictures of the crowd. They'll be taking pictures when they get their diplomas. And all of those pictures will be sent to everybody here next week, so you'll make sure that you have all those if you need them or want them. At the end of our program, please remain seated, and we will give you instructions for how we're going to leave the area just to maintain social distancing. We know rain is coming, so we're going to try to keep our tight schedule and make sure everybody's out of here before the rain shows up. I would also like to say thank you to the graduation committee and to all of the volunteers for making this event a success, especially Janet O'Hara and Ann Calcaterra. We would not be here without all of their hard work. Thank you to FATV for being here. And lastly, I want to thank Neil Zani for generously giving us this space and all of the beautiful flowers and plants for graduation. This is truly a gift. All right, I now invite our principal, Mr. Frederick Randall, to the podium.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome and congratulations to the class of 2020. It certainly has been a long time coming, and we're delighted to finally have a chance to thank you and congratulate you on graduating from Sizer School. I would like to recognize the Senior Recognition Committee, who's worked so hard under these guidelines and shifting sands and pulling together a wonderful plan for this afternoon. Jamie Aubuchon, Ann Calcaterra, Jill Cannell, Lindsay Corallo, James Fortier, Marianne Macri, Lynn Nemi, Janet O'Hara, Michelle Paronto, Tracy Richard, Lindsay Savageau, Nick Spino, Pam Sweeney, and Senior Nicholas Griffith, who helped us map out and do the metrics for the social distancing. He volunteered his time for that. So just a quick hand for everybody who worked to pull this together. Thank you so much. And thanks to all the volunteers who came here today. I would like to recognize 3 special athletes from our interrupted winter season. Savi Sebastian Rodriguez, who was from the earlier graduation, Noah Colbert, who is here with us as a speaker, and Anna Pederosi, who was here at the earlier ceremony. We're all WCAC basketball all-stars. They weren't recognized due to the all-star game and team banquets being canceled, but I feel like they deserve a little round of applause from all of us for that achievement. Additionally, we had planned on raising a special tribute banner to our Sizer Gym rafters honoring Savi Rodriguez's amazing 1,000 points over his career. We will do so as soon as possible when it's feasible, and we'll invite him and his family, of course. I had invited all of the seniors, if they wanted to, certainly wasn't an assignment, to share with me any highlights or recognitions that they would want me to read on their behalf. So I'm going to start my remarks by doing so, going through the ones who sent comments for me. Noah Colbert sent me saying, the highlight of Sizer for him was one day in junior year and AP English Lit after we'd gone through the exams, which are quite extensive. We spent an entire day in class doing silly superlatives for the characters in the books we'd read. It was comical, but it was also maybe the most engaged we'd been with the books all year. It was memorable to have an experience like that at the end of the year spent in preparation for the AP exams. And I asked him for an example, and he gave me one, which was biggest forehead, which was a tie between Colonel Kurtz and Okonkwo. So if you were involved, you might have. But thank you, Noah, for sharing that. Donnie Crowley shared he would like to thank his friend group for creating so many memories that he'll never forget, and Taylor Willis for constantly helping me and motivating him to be the best he could, and for being so caring, selfless, supportive, and understanding. Danielle Hendricks, she wanted to thank Mrs. Judge for helping her gain confidence in her art and putting them into museums and contests. She also wanted to thank Mrs. Nemi for supporting her throughout the year and helping her keep her head on. She's also thanking Mrs. Roy for all her kind actions and words of encouragement that made her school days happier and better. She's saying, I hope it's not too much to say, but these teachers helped me a lot, and it means a lot even if they don't realize it. Samantha Jean said she'd like to give her recognition to her mom and her dad and her family, that they have been with her through thick and thin and have never given up on her, and also to Mrs. Richard for always pushing her to be her best self. And these people are the reason that she made it across the stage today. Ben Morenin shared thoughts on his graduation. He said he couldn't narrow it down to just one. There were three things that stood out for him during his time at Sizer. One was being cross-country. He just knew that he wanted to do cross-country, and he had never felt like doing anything else until junior year. Second was being in theater. His junior year, he auditioned for the summer play and ended up loving it and did more throughout the remainder of his time at Sizer. And three, his senior project. For his senior project, he created a graphic novel about autism, and the story is about a 13-year-old half-elf boy named Jason who has autism. He learns that it's not a bad thing to have, and this book helps kids who do have autism and parents who have no clue what it is to have a better understanding of it. He plans to pursue all of these things in college and be on the lookout for his book because he plans to publish it and possibly make more. I thought that was wonderful. Yes. Claire Scobee. She gave a highlight of her first week of apprenticeship with Mrs. Tuttle. The students were annotating a poem, and one student left his page blank until the end of class. I approached him and asked if he understood the assignment before taking the blank worksheet. He told me he didn't know how to annotate, and I stayed after for a few minutes to work with him on building a foundation in the skill. Teaching him my own method for picking important lines from a text and how to condense information in the margins reminded me of all the excellent English teachers I've had over my years at Sizer and gave me a new appreciation for the work they do. I learned from them not to assume students were lazy or disrespectful, but to gently offer help for every student to understand the material and be able to learn. Finally, Taylor Willis shared that she wanted to add in that one of her greatest achievements this year was when the cast of I, Cockroach got a standing ovation at Festival this year. So thank you, seniors, for sharing those with us. I think, true to Sizer, it's important to hear their voice. And it's important to hear what has touched them and helped them get to this stage. And what's helped them get there is the Sizer staff, the Sizer mission, and all of you, and all of the opportunities they've had to perform. I promise to be brief, as instructed, but I have an important message for the class of 2020 that I wanted to share. You've worked hard in and out of the classrooms, theaters, fields, and courts to get to this moment. Your year in this recognition was frustratingly delayed by the COVID-19 world pandemic, and I'm very sorry, like everybody else, that that happened. But my message to you is that you are more than the COVID-19 class. That is not who you are. You're an incredibly intelligent and talented group of young adults who are completely ready to pursue your next goals in life. Don't allow this situation to derail the drive and passion that got you to this moment. Ted Sizer, the brilliant educator our school is named after and our mission is about, wrote in his book Horace's Compromise that the first object of any act of learning, over and beyond the pleasure it may give, is that it should serve us in the future. Learning should not only take us somewhere, it should allow us later to go further easily. To date, what you have learned in embodying our school's mission of Think, Care, Act has not only served you well in accomplishing graduation, but it has prepared you to take on the next stage of your life, whether college or career. Trust yourself and your abilities, and don't let COVID define you. You have fought through it, and you will continue to do so. It can be hard to trust in yourself and keep a positive outlook in these challenging times. Sometimes I find it's best to look at those we admire to inspire us in both word and action. Civil rights leader and champion and long-serving House of Representatives member John Lewis, who recently passed away, spent his entire life pushing and fighting for the civil rights movement. His endurance and persistence is a great example for us to try to emulate. Representative Lewis was quoted as saying, "If you're not hopeful and optimistic, then you just give up. You have to take that long, hard look and just believe that if you're consistent, you will succeed. Stay true to yourself, your convictions, and your goals in life. Never give up and be consistent in working toward your mission. You can do it." A final point I would like to share that I couldn't resist. On September 29, 2014, our beloved New England Patriots suffered one of their worst losses of the 20-year Belichick-Brady dynasty. They lost 41-14 to the Kansas City Chiefs on national TV. Everybody went crazy. Brady was too old. The team was no good anymore. Belichick was too tough. No one liked him. Kraft family wasn't spending enough money or spending it in the right place. The dynasty was dead. Well, Coach Belichick knew it was going to be a very challenging and difficult press conference. He knew he would get all kinds of doubting questions, second-guessing, and criticisms. He also knew, though, that this was just one game out of a long season. He also knew what their mission was. And he knew that that game was over, as poor as the outcome had been, and that it was time to move forward. So he made sure to stress that with his team, that they should need to move on from the temporary setback and begin looking ahead to the next challenge. Went on TV and asked the questions, is Brady too old? Is the dynasty over? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? Coach Belichick repeatedly responded by answering, we're on to Cincinnati. We're moving on to Cincinnati. We're on to Cincinnati. Cincinnati was their next game on the schedule, and Coach Belichick was reminding everybody that staying true to their mission was one game at a time. The next game was the most important game, not what had happened prior. So yes, we've had a difficult time with COVID, but our Cincinnati is what comes next. His words, by the way, proved to be a rallying cry for his team, who went to win 12 out of 16 regular season games and then swept through the playoffs to win the Super Bowl, defeating the Seattle Seahawks, Kansas City Chiefs, nowhere to be found. Why share this? Well, because challenges and even failures are only temporary. Keep your eyes forward and keep your eyes thinking about focusing on achieving your goals, and don't let the noise of critics or obstacles derail you. In this way, Cincinnati represents your next steps as graduates, your future moving forward. So in closing, congratulations on this well-earned recognition, but I'm imploring you to stay true to yourself. You are indeed ready to move on to Cincinnati, and we will be cheering you on every step of the way. Thank you. It's my privilege and honor to introduce our first student speaker, Sebastian Savi Rodriguez.
Good morning. For those who don't know me, I'm Sebastian Rodriguez, also known as Savi, or the kid who doesn't stop laughing in class. Earlier in the school year, I did my senior project, developing a video that told my story. That video touched on a personal topic for me. That topic was homelessness. Because I don't have 8 minutes for the whole video, let me share the most important part. I was homeless when I was in elementary school, and I had to sleep on the floor with my siblings. Growing up, I was around a lot of negativity, especially a lot of gang violence. It was very distracting. I had a lot of people who didn't believe in me, people who doubted me, and people who laughed at my goals and dreams. Making it out of high school was one of those dreams. And even though it may seem like an easy accomplishment, I talked about how it all affected me and how basketball helped guide me to be the man I am today. All of that uncertainty made me go to school on the toughest days. My mom's yelling did too, but y'all get the point. For me, this day is such a big deal because I wasn't supposed to be here, in their eyes. I believe where you are is where you're meant to be. Life is hard, but there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Today, that light is a diploma with your name on it. I believe our journey will make us a better version of ourselves. The main takeaway from my senior project is to help others share their story or become an advocate for those who don't have a voice. I want people to know that we need to stay humble, no matter what life throws or threw our way, no matter what the adversities we may face through life are, because we're all going to run into major adversities one day. Life will never be about how hard you get knocked down or how you get up. It's about understanding you need to get up. You need to keep pushing. You need to just stay humble. Thank you for your time.
Good evening to all our Sizer friends, all our Sizer families, friends, and of course faculty. I've written this speech to thank everyone who supported my classmates and I through these difficult times. This was supposed to be our year, the year for senior prom, senior skip days, sporting events, and the rest of what senior year had in store for us. We were supposed to rock our senior year, supposed to be with our friends one last year before parting ways to start new adventures. This was the year that we've all been waiting for. Hold on, I lost it. Everything that high school is building up to, but it was robbed from us because of this global pandemic. We truly understand what it's like to have our entire senior year stripped away at the last minute, but still, look at us. We're finally here. We finally made it. I'd also like to thank my parents for pushing me to do my best and be better than I was the day before. I will be forever grateful for them for everything, for bringing me wherever I wanted to go, nagging me to do my math homework. They continue to support me and encourage me to be the best woman I can be. I also want to thank my classmates who I've made unforgettable memories with throughout the past 6 years I've been at Sizer. This hasn't been a regular school for me. People say you won't remember your high school friends, teachers, or experiences, but with all we've been through together, forgetting will be impossible. It's crazy to be standing here on the stage in front of you all. I know you guys are used to me being a brat, huffing and puffing when I was picked to read the next page out loud. And now I'm here speaking to all of you about my experience at Sizer. This is really scary. I used to tell my parents and teachers that I really didn't care about college because I never thought I could afford it, and my plan B was to marry someone rich and divorce them and get their money and move to Italy when I was 50. I'm still kind of planning on it. I'm just kidding. Yes, I came as a 7th grader with an attitude, but I'm leaving as a successful senior, a college-prepared student, and I owe that to my growth, to many of you, but most importantly, myself. Congratulations to the class of 2020. We finally made it. Allow me to introduce the next student speaker, Aidan Olette.
She's right, though. All right. How are you guys? Should I just take this off? First off, I want to welcome everyone to the 15th Sizer graduation, family, friends, teachers. It feels good to be standing here throughout all the stress that, we've all gone through. Gosh knows I, for one, struggled, but, keep pushing forwards. It really makes a difference. I would also want to welcome those who didn't give us graduation money, but instead gave us toilet paper. I guess we should consider ourselves lucky. Many people are feeling bad for our seniors graduating this year. They feel bad thinking of our senior year, all those delightful events we missed out on, like prom, skip day, awards night. But that just shows how strong we are and the people we are becoming. We're all entering adulthood with COVID-19 and a worldwide pandemic, but we are in the midst of making history. Graduation isn't the same this year, but no one's going to forget the graduation of 2020. Certainly our parents have a great deal to be proud of. I'm sure, thinking, few short months. We'll be off in college, getting a job, and they'll get what they've been waiting for. It's time to turn your empty bedroom into a home office. Some graduation speeches speak of following your dreams, believing in yourself, that our failure is important for success. or about the power of hard work and perseverance. But seriously, let's never settle for less. Let's keep making history from this day forward. Ideally, history deals with the past. History reveals what happens. It uncovers how we developed. History, likewise, helps us understand the changes in times. It ensures us not to repeat the same mistakes, like eating bad soup. Over the coming years, you may forget some calculus formula. I'm sure we will definitely forget our log combinations. But we can't forget what we're already doing. Standing here today, doing things, moving forward, changing. Never forget, when individuals work together, the whole group is raised up. The impossible becomes impossible, and achievement becomes your destiny. I remember in 8th grade, Miss Pavlovsky had told me one day, I was upset about a history, I don't know, I guess it was a history test. But it's what she had told me that made me think about it differently. By James Baldwin, he once said, "People are trapped in history, and history is trapped in with them." What made that special to me was it's true. Whatever you think inside of you, it depends on the outcome. It all starts with one person, and that's you. But our children will learn of this COVID-19 in their history books, and it will one day be there. And I challenge myself from this day forward, and I challenge you guys, continue to go make history. Thank you. Please allow me to introduce the next student speaker, Claire Scobee.
Hey everyone. My younger brother Charlie entered 7th grade at Sizer this year, and he's taken to saying, "Back when I was in high school," and telling outlandish stories about a completely made-up high school experience he's clearly never had, because he's 13. It got me thinking about my own high school experience. There's this idea people have of a traditional high school experience, and it doesn't match mine. I didn't have a high school sweetheart or a championship game. Most of all, I didn't resent my classes or my school. I loved them. When everything else was confusing, I could come to school every day and ask whatever questions I wanted. There aren't a lot of places in life where you can ask whatever questions you want. Despite the lack of traditionalism, I loved my experience, and I'm thoroughly grateful for it. The best part of any high school experience is the stories you can tell about it. I have a lot of stories now, and I think that's the most amazing thing to collect in life. I have this ability to transfer my unique knowledge of myself in these 2-minute memories of something I've experienced. It really gives people a sense of who you are when you tell them a story. The place you begin, your tone, the details you include, and even the details you omit. When I tell the story of the film project I made for English class in 10th grade, I start with the writing process. I tell people where the idea for a film about the impact of memory on decisions came from, and they usually think it sounds clever. I love that moment. I try to enjoy it because what comes next is the execution, which is considerably less graceful. Explaining how I entreated my friends to help me, and they agreed with varying degrees of reluctance. By the time I reach the end of the story, people know a lot more about me than they did 4 minutes earlier. They know I love to write, have a lot of ambition, struggle to plan effectively, and most importantly, they know I absolutely love my friends. Because the best part of my high school stories is the people who lived them with me. People who taught me to be prepared for plot twists and to never give up on the end you want to see, but be willing to consider the ending you didn't see coming. My classmates, my teachers, and my family come in and out of the stories over the years, but it helps me to remember them at their best and to remember myself at my best. Another very important piece of all my high school stories is Sizer. People laugh about the story of filming a dance sequence during advisory, and then they ask how on earth I got to try filmmaking for a unit on Catcher in the Rye, and I explain how it was approved as an application of learning. The way it surprises them to hear my teachers let me have alternative and additional assignments because I wanted to learn more fills me with pride and breaks my heart, because I think schools everywhere should be like that, but I will always be grateful that my school was like that. My experience isn't universal, and that's my favorite thing about it. Leaving Sizer is scary, but I know I'm ready, and I have a lot to look forward to. One of the things I'm looking forward to most is when I'm a little older, and something reminds me of one of my stories for the first time in a while. Then I can proudly smile and say, "Back when I was in high school." Allow me to introduce the next student speaker, Nora Savage.
Hello, everybody. Bear with me, I might cry. So, I came to Sizer School in 2014, fresh out of a tiny private school in Royalston with only 60 kids in the entire school. I knew absolutely nothing about public schools, and I was terrified. I'd heard some pretty nasty things about them, but it was nothing like anything I thought it would be. It was wonderfully surprising. The kids were nicer than I was expecting. The teachers were nicer than I was expecting. The teachers were downright phenomenal, completely blowing my expectations out of the water. It was a relief. A weight was taken off my shoulders, and I was really happy. I knew I was meant to be here. Something that really cemented my place here at Sizer was when I joined the drama club in 7th grade. We were doing this play, Eurydice, by Sarah Rule, and we were taking it to a competition that the club participates in every year. I was put on tech crew, and I had one of the best experiences of my life. I got to make it rain actual water in an elevator. So there were these 2 little PVC pipes that ran across the top of the elevator doors with little holes drilled into them. And there were tiny strings sticking inside of those holes. And me and one other person stood on either side of the elevator, and we poured water into the pipes. Whenever the ding sound of the elevator would play, 2 people would pull the doors open, and we would simultaneously pour water into the pipes. I've never left the drama club since and have been involved with numerous plays and musicals. I've made connections and friendships within that club with all different types of people. Some I hope I will know forever. I would like to end by saying thank you. Thank you to my original classmates from 2014 for sticking around this long and being fellow guinea pigs in a brand new building. Thank you to my classmates who joined later for making the class a bit fuller and bringing in new minds and ideas. Thank you to the teachers, those who are still here and those who aren't. You made me feel like I was smart, and when it comes to subjects like math, it's almost impossible for me to feel smart. Thank you to the class of 2021. Hopefully your senior year will be a little more physical and a lot less virtual. Thank you, Sizer Theater Arts. I won't ever be able to experience making it rain in an elevator again. Thank you for giving me that experience. Thank you, Mom, Dad, and Charlie. Thank you, Sizer. It's been totally awesome. Allow me to introduce our final student speaker, Noah Colbert.
March 13th. My classmates will probably identify that day as the last time we were in school, the last time that things were normal. Eating lunch in groups, counting down the days to graduation, pondering the wonders that the future had to offer. But March 13th is also the exact same day that Breonna Taylor was murdered in her sleep by the people who were supposed to protect her. At the exact same time, a virus spread around this country that has cost 157,000 of our countrymen and 679,000 worldwide their lives. And the pause on trips to restaurants, the mall, and the movies, for some of us, coincided with the loss of jobs, businesses, and dreams for others. My point is that there is no return to normality, because what we considered to be normal was anything but that for others. There's no magic reset button that will propel us into a world where things are as they should be. You'll always have that feeling that in one more day, one more week, One more year, things will be as they should be. And that's a luxury that not many people have. That feeling will never go away, and to live your life like that is to be blind to the nature of the world in which we reside. I should say, that feeling will never go away unless you resolve to actively cast it out through taking initiative. If there's something in your life you don't like, rid yourself of it. If there's something you want, go for it. A job, an internship, even a person you'd like to greet. And this holds true for the more important things in life as well. If there's something in this world that isn't right, take the steps necessary to make whatever difference you can. Engage in what the late Senator John Lewis would have called good trouble. We've been told that it may be impossible for us to return to normal, to which I reply, good. There's no better time than now to embrace abnormality. Thank you. Please allow me to introduce Ms. Michelle Brennan, Sizer's Board of Trustees Chairperson, Mr. Frederick Randall, Sizer's Principal, Ms. Lindsay Corallo, our Guidance Counselor for grades 10 through 12, for the presentation of diplomas.
Juan Rodolfo Castro. Noah Adrian Colbert. Audrey Elizabeth Cox. Donald Eric Crawley. Samantha Lynn Jean. Nicholas Michael Griffith. Joshua William Melendi. Kenneth Francis Joseph. Emma Reagan McAvoy. Dana Lynn Mikazuski. Meredith Elaine O'Leary. Aidan Ronald Olette. Claire Marjorie Peterson. Anna Judith Pederosi. Timothy Brian Primo. Nancy Helen Ralston. Sebastian Isidro Rodriguez. Claire Judith Scobee. Caleb Joseph Stratford. Taylor Louise Willis. Christopher George Zani.
Angel Ruben Baroa. Corinne Marie Breen. Vivian Toby Gladys Ruth DeMcCallie. Zoe Ann Emery. Keith Roderick Grace. Damia Edith Grealish. Joshua Garros Guzmeo. Danielle Charlene Nicole Hendricks. Zachary Paul Hofsmith. Devin Christopher Iorio. Sana May Khan. Zachary Liam Lane. Kathleen Ann McAndrew. Kaylee Jane Miller. Grace Ann Vartanian. Joanne Edith Muldoon. Benjamin Michael Mulrennan. Axel Manuel Sanchez. Nora Tobias Savage. Angelica Vasquez. Angelina Grace Welch. Allow me to welcome Ms. Michelle Brennan, Board of Trustees Chairperson.
Okay, by the power vested in me by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the Board of Trustees of Sizer School, in recognition of your efforts to meet or exceed the requirements for graduation, I hereby confer upon you, the class of 2020, your diplomas. You are now official graduates of Sizer School, a North Central Charter Essential School. Congratulations.
At this time, I would like to ask the class of 2020 to please rise. Join me in turning our tassel from right to left to signify that we are now graduates. Congratulations, class of 2020.
At this time, I would like to ask the class of 2020 to please rise. Join me in turning our tassels from right to left to signify that we are now graduates. Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you for all for being here. Graduates, it was a pleasure hearing about your time at Sizer and seeing you receive your diplomas. Family and friends, your support has made a world of difference.